All right, we're here as the Lost Rider Podcast. Good morning and welcome to the second half of this week's News from the Camp House. We're here this morning with a young lady, Dana, and I'm not even going to try her last name. Young lady from Vancouver, British Columbia. She is with the organization Women Hunt, which is an offshoot of the Wild Sheep Foundation. And she is the young lady that does the podcast for this outfit. It's called Ignite, what?
Just the Ignite podcast.
Okay, the Ignite podcast. All right. Coming from British Columbia and you found this organization on Instagram, but, okay, so this is your first trip to Texas.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. I know you haven't really had an opportunity to circumvent the state to any great extent. But, I don't know. Is British Columbia, do you see any type of difference, any type of culture difference, anything like that as far as the hunting and, hunting communities are concerned?
Yeah, well, maybe not the hunting community. I feel like people in the hunting community have been very similar to each other in that super supportive, encouraging, hopeful for the future, willing to work hard and invest in future generations. So regardless if we're in Texas or if we're in BC or wherever, I felt right at home wherever I've traveled so far. In terms of hunting opportunities, very different. I think we have grizzly bears, we have black bears, we have, further north we've got caribou, we've got sheep, we've got goats, like mountain goats. So yeah, totally different landscape, lots of different critters, from our place to you down here.
All right. Yes, I've been in Montana, so there's lots of different critters from there to here. But how did you find the hunting deal? You grew up with the hunting a little bit, or no? Tell me about it.
No, not at all. I didn't have any connection to the hunting world until, my husband got into it 5 years ago. So I kind of think he hit a bit of a midlife crisis, and that's where he put his focus. Some people buy a Corvette, some people get into hunting. That's where he decided that that's what he wanted to do. He grew up on a chicken farm, commercial chicken farm, with 80 acres. Lots of critters around, bears and cougars and deer. But his dad, his grandpa, they were never interested in hunting. But when he started reaching around 40, that's when he decided that was something he wanted to pursue. So I said, go ahead. Great. I wasn't interested, but you go out, and if that, fills your cup, then I'm happy for you. And I'll just be here with the kids. We have 4 kids, and I'll cook your game, and I'm just be happy for you that you're having a good time out there. But then 2 years ago, I changed my mind that, okay, now I want to get into it too. So that's been nice for us to now be able to plan hunts together. We've been out hunting a couple of times together. And it's just another way for us to spend quality time. But it was through my business that I had from 2021 to 2024. I was like your middleman between you and your farmer. Knowing where your food comes from was really important to me. And through my business of being a farm-to-table food distributor, I met people who hunted. And then they were just so welcoming and invited me out to meetings, and that's how I got involved. That's how I knew people who were into this lifestyle. And it just made so much sense from an ethos of my business of knowing where your food comes from. So I knew where my carrots and cabbages grew, but I didn't know so much I wanted to be more involved in the meat procurement side. And then it was my turn to start pushing 40. And I wanted to, I felt like that adventure, I needed some of that in my life. And my kids were getting older, so I felt like now's the time. They're all teenagers now, so I don't have little babies anymore. You know, they don't need me so much physically. I'm finding they still need me a lot emotionally and mentally. But they now, you know, they've been kind of in both camps where mom and dad didn't hunt and fish, and then now on the other side, now they're getting into it. So now they are the second half of their childhood is all with mom and dad getting into hunting and fishing and taking them along and trying to teach them those things and giving them the opportunities to get out in the woods and see what it's like. So we've had some fun adventures together, but there's a lot more. This year is looking pretty bright for more opportunities together.
Good. No, that's good stuff. All right. What are your kids? What ages are they? Which ones are boys? Which ones are girls?
Mm-hmm. I don't know where
You're
to touch
right,
this thing.
Right.
So I've got 4. Right now they're 13, 15, 17, almost 19. So it goes boy, girl, boy, boy. So my eldest and my third have each harvested a whitetail on my in-laws' property. So they have 80 acres in central BC. So now that my husband got into hunting, then my father-in-law got into hunting. And then my father-in-law built a 40-foot deer stand in his top field. And now every November, my husband and one of the kids will go on a hunt. And my father-in-law only allows 4 bucks to be taken off his field every year. So one of those bucks he kind of saves for Jeb and one of the kids. This year it's Jeb's turn because the past couple of years the kids have got, and so this year it's Jeb's turn. My daughter, she gets it. She's not really into it at the moment, but you know, she'll eat everything, and she's been out hunting and she's been to the range a few times to practice shooting. You know, it's fine for her, but it's not something that she's super into. But the boys, for sure, they think it's really cool. My youngest and my third born, for sure, I can see them going pretty far with it. My eldest is a baseball player, so he's about to leave for Kansas on a full ride scholarship for baseball. So that's his passion. But I can see him getting into the outdoors as time permits for him. But for now, his focus is baseball.
Okay. All right. No, it's cool. All right. That's deer hunting. Is there any, I don't know, waterfowl, bird hunting, upland game bird hunting, any of that kind of stuff around you?
Yeah, definitely. It's not something I've been able to do yet. Seems like there's quite an expense to get into waterfowl hunting with all of the decoys and just access, I guess. You know, knowing a farmer that has some land that you can set up in is pretty handy, which I don't know anyone yet.
Okay.
So I haven't been able to do that. And upland game hunting, I think that does happen in central BC and over to, you know, the eastern provinces of, you know, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba. They have a lot more upland game birds than we do in BC. You know, BC is a lot of forest. So deer and bear are, you know, your big game, and elk, moose, that kind of thing.
All right. No, that's cool. Now, you haven't had a shot at killing a deer yet.
I have.
Oh, you have?
I have.
All
That's
right.
so in November of 24, my youngest son and I were invited to go to my friend's ranch at a place called 100 Mile House. And my friend had just moved to this 150-acre ranch, and she said they had a lot of whitetails up there. So we only had 2 days, but we went up there and saw a ton of sign everywhere. And then on our last afternoon, we saw my son saw a mule deer buck.
Okay.
So I got him in my crosshairs. He didn't run away, and I pulled the trigger, and he stumbled and fell and dropped right there. So that was a really great experience with my son. We quartered the deer there and then brought everything home and finished processing it together as a family on the kitchen table.
Okay. What's the primary food source for mule deer around there? Are they in farmers' fields or?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, there is a lot of farmers' fields out there. You know, it was cold. Everything was snowed over. Mm-hmm. So we spotted him in the bush. He was just making his way around, probably to some bedding spot. But he was nibbling around at leaves and stuff. So right. I'm not sure what he was eating, but.
All right. Well, yeah. The reason I asked, y'all said y'all ate him.
Yeah.
All right. So he must have been fairly good.
Yeah, he was really good. And I'd never had venison before. So now to learn how to cook venison is such a lean meat. So I'm getting better, I think, just learning some tricks there. I talked to Brenda Weatherby on my podcast recently, and she told me some tricks about, taking it out and thawing it slowly and salting it and sitting it in the fridge and letting it hang out there with the salt to draw out moisture, and then cooking it real slow, or sous videing it. Have you ever tried sous vide? I haven't either, but I've eaten meat that's been sous vide, but I've never done it myself.
I don't know what that means.
So sous vide is putting your meat in a bag, and then it's in this like contraption, so it'll cook it for you, kind of like a slow cooker type deal.
Okay.
But you set the temperature that you want the meat to be cooked at, and it keeps it at that level. So if you want your venison at whatever, it's going to cook at 135, and then you just set it for 8 hours, and it's going to slow cook that meat, but it keeps all the juices there, so it's super tender and really delicious.
All right. Now, the reason I asked that is, I've hunted and guided and chased mule deer and done all that. And I used to get the mountain muleys, and I thought that was some of the best eating there was in the world. And all of a sudden, I shot one from Missouri Breaks that had been living on sage. And it is just, I'm waiting for one of these chefs to tell me how to fix that, because I couldn't eat it, Okay. But, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of sagebrush around that area as well. But I just don't have enough experience. I think, whatever I'm given, that's what we're going to eat.
Right.
We have got a little spring black bear as well. And I think she was eating a lot of fish. And my kids could always smell when I was frying up the ground bear, because it smelled like fish. So they'd holler from the other room, like, "Are you cooking up that bear again? It smells like fish in here." Like, yeah, well, this is what we're eating, regardless. I couldn't really taste the fishiness of it, but they said that they could. So, it really does impact what they eat and how far along in the rut they were. Apparently, that also impacts the meat. But I found my mule deer pretty tasty, so I'd be happy with another one.
Tell my listeners where to find you, where to find out more about Women Hunt.
So obviously, Instagram that's my happy place, and I have access to Instagram. It's the @women_hunt is the Instagram, and then on the website we're at the wildsheepfoundation.org, and then there's a Women Hunt bar, and you can do the drop down tab and then read all about us and what we've got going on. And then there's my personal one, Dana Dykema, on Instagram, and I live there happily all day, every day. So always uploading stories and sharing what I'm doing.
All right. Folks, I hope you enjoyed it this weekend. Fun to have Miss Dana in here. Fun to talk to young folks. Hear how excited they get and how they find how to hunt, where to go, and all that. So, all right. Hope everybody enjoyed it this weekend. Hope everybody learned something. Look up Women Hunt and check it out. It's all good. It's all under the Wild Sheep Foundation. So now it's time for y'all to go out, have a great weekend, have a lot of fun, be safe, and y'all just remember, pretty much any day is sure a good day to be out in the woods.